Scorpio, and welcome to your monthly predictions reading. We're going to be focusing on September specifically. This is a general predictions reading, so if you're looking for love specifically, I do those once a month. You have your mid-August to mid-September reading up now, and if this reading resonates, I recommend you join the family and subscribe so that you can stay informed of the next predictions reading, which will be up in about 2 weeks, I believe, maybe less than that by the time your reading goes live. So let's get into it. We're going to start by pulling they're not oracle cards. We're going to pull 3 tarot cards from this tarot deck, which will tell us the 3 main themes that your sign can expect to experience in the month ahead. So what is going on for Scorpio? We have the Queen of Wands coming out first. What is going on for Scorpio in the month of September, please, Spirit? We also have the we have the 7 of Cups. What is going on for Scorpio? We have the 9 of Coins reversed. Okay, interesting. And at the back of the deck, we have the Sun reversed. Okay. Some of you guys could be missing someone in the month ahead. It could feel like they're not not as active in your life as they once were. But the Sun card in general could be you feeling very nostalgic, kind of thinking back, feeling a little bit tainted. It's always a happy card, but when it's reversed, it feels bittersweet. It feels a bit pessimistic. It feels a bit like, this isn't exactly what I had imagined. So you guys may just be really kind of thinking back on how things have changed and kind of missing how things have changed, or missing people from your past, specifically people who were a part of your life when you were less wise, is what it feels like your more naive years, your childhood, those developing years before you knew more. I'm hearing before I knew better. Okay. I also see the Sun card reversed as you kind of feeling like you're missing out on something. Something that you wanted isn't here. And so you're just feeling maybe a little bit meh when it comes to your feelings. Even though, because the Sun is here, you're probably experiencing some pretty amazing stuff. For some reason, your emotional state is having a hard time acclimating to this positive shift. Let's start with your first theme, though, this Queen of Wands. It's looking like a very attractive energy, a feeling of getting things together enough to feel more confident in the actions that you're taking, but also feeling more aware of the energy you're putting out with that Queen of Wands. So you kind of get this impression that the energy you're putting out is attracting exactly what you need towards you. And I feel like that's where things kind of, so you start to become aware of what isn't here. So at the start of the month, I feel like you're going to be very confident, or you're going to try your best to feel confident about where things are headed. We have the Star card coming out first. So this is a card of optimism. It's also a card that's talking about healing and focusing more on how your present situation is developing into your future. It can look like you being more mindful of your present actions so that you're creating the future that you want. We have the Queen of Wands again. So there's a strong feeling of like attracts like, and you putting a heavy amount of intention into your actions. The Ace of Cups coming out. Interesting. Can we clarify the Queen of Cups? I just want to be very careful, the Queen of Wands, before I draw conclusions about that Ace of Cups. We have the 4 of Cups in the reverse position. What is going on with that Queen of Wands? We have the Justice card. Wow. Oops. And we have the Hermit card reversed. Okay. At the back of the deck is the Mother of Cups reversed. So I do feel like some of you are going to experience a new love offer over here. But for most of you, this is just talking about a new opportunity in love, this Ace of Cups. It feels like you're very aware of your energy in September, and you're going to try to do your best to put the right vibes out there when it comes to how you're interacting with other people and what you're choosing to focus on. I see you being very aware of your actions and trying to really heal anything that may be hindering your progression when it comes to personal healing as well as those closest to you. I feel like if you are in a relationship, your partner is going to be the focus, like a heavy for part of your like focus in the month ahead. You're really trying to like give your relationship the best possible chance in September, in the sense of if there were any issues, you're really going to be focused on your partner and you're going to try your best to make sure that they're not feeling neglected emotionally and that you're not getting too in your head about the relationship, and you're trying to stay as present as possible. But other than that, I feel like if you're a single Scorpio, you're really trying to attract a partner who recognizes you for everything that you've put into yourself. You want someone who sees you as someone who is not only attractive, but someone who's put a lot of effort into their growth and who is in a stable energy. I feel like you are going to take a chance on somebody, mostly because you are in an energy of not wanting to kind of miss out on anything. You're really staying as grounded and as present as you can, and you feel like the universe is delivering something to you, and so you're going to start taking more chances, more opportunities, and it feels like you're really trying to kind of build energy when it comes to love and progression emotionally. So I feel like with the Hermit card reversed, you may be stepping out of your shell a little bit and kind of being more engaging and more social, or just kind of more receptive of emotional offers. Maybe you've had people ask you out in August and you were like, you know what, I'm not actually ready, but thank you so much. And then they ask you again in September and they're like, hey Scorpio, like I know you said you weren't ready in August, but how are you feeling now? And you may say, yes, you know, I'm thank you for waiting. Let's do something. It feels like you're coming out of your shell with the Hermit card reversed, and the Mother of Cups reversed. It just feels like you're sick of kind of letting things pass you by. And I do feel like you're trying to disconnect from what your intuition is telling you in an unhelpful way. And you're trying just to be more accountable. Like it feels like you're getting out of this passive space of just being slightly dissociated and a bit more sort of whimsical and wishful. And you're trying to step into a more present, accountable, and action-orientated space. Not overly masculine, if that makes sense, but just more aware of like, if I want something, I have to physically make it happen. And that's what this energy feels like. So what else does Scorpio need to know about this Queen of Wands energy? What else does Scorpio need to know about this Queen of Wands energy, Spirit? What else does Scorpio need to know? We have harmony, and behind that was the Four of Cups reversed and the Hermit card of solitude. So harmony is the Lover's card in this deck, and for it to come out over here, it definitely indicates an emphasis on union, on relationships, on doing what is right for yourself, but also for those that you care about. And it is an action card. It's about making a decision based on love and trying to really listen to what your heart is telling you, not getting overwhelmed by fear or not getting overwhelmed by energy. If you are very intuitive, maybe you're picking up on all the hypothetical scenarios and it's overwhelming. Maybe you're picking up on all the fear and it's overwhelming. And so you're just trying to get out of that sort of ethereal, almost dissociated space, and you're trying to get back down to earth and be more accountable and aware. I do see love being a heavy influence over here. And I feel like this Queen of Wands is more about you accepting and attracting and acting based on being more confident, feeling more aware of the fact that if I want this, I've got to make it happen. And just trying to make sure that you're not missing out on anything. At the back of the deck, we have cornucopia. So I really feel like you're convinced that this is a big harvest. Something that you've been wanting to happen has happened, and you're trying to make the most out of it in September. Your advice is the thinking woman. So there is this feeling of staying logical and trying to be more aware of what you may need to do in order to get what you want. So I feel like there is a lot of planning into this, or there could be a lot of follow-up action in which you may need to think things through and consider your options and the different things that you could do in that situation. But as advice, the thinking woman feels like it's very much about kind of being more logical And it's interesting that this should come through in a tarot reading. The only reason I would think that that is more helpful than being connected to your heart space or your intuition is if those feelings are overwhelmed or triggered by other unhelpful, distorted feelings. So think clearly and stay logical in the situation. And I really feel like, as advice, that thinking woman is just encouraging you to stay aware of what it is that you can do, rather than being hyper fixated on what is out of your control or on what you can't do in this situation. So let's have a look at your next card, because we have the Seven of Cups here, which is saying you have choices. You have a lot of options in September. You may be getting a lot of attention based on your emotional development over here. People may be wanting a lot of your energy or your time, or you could be attracting a lot of emotional offers or attention. The first card coming out is the Three of Cups reversed. We also have the Two of Wands reversed. So even though you may be feeling confused and overwhelmed by what do I do with this, there's only really one road forward. You feel very stuck on one specific thing, or you feel very confused about which way to move forward, full stop. Let me stop talking and pull the last three cards. We have the Seven of Pentacles. What else can you tell them about this? We have the Father of Wands. Seven of Cups. We have the Empress. Okay. This is interesting. At the back of the deck is the Strength card. So I feel like what's happening here is you have choices in this situation. What is the situation about? It's most likely about your future and how you move forward long term. But in order to move forward, you have to make decisions right in September. In the heat of September, you've got to start putting things in place. I see you delaying those plans because you're not convinced that you know the best way forward yet. You're not convinced that the best opportunity has revealed itself to you, and you're just wanting quality over quantity. You're not in a rush. You're happy to kind of put in some long-term plans, but in the immediate future, you feel like you need to just pump the brakes and wait for the situation to become either more serious or for you to get that offer of clarity that you need. I definitely feel like patience is the main energy over here. You may be feeling very confused when it comes to planning something in the future, and you're strongly being encouraged to just have patience and to remind yourself of why you're doing this, excuse me, hiccups now, and of the importance of the quality of the outcome. I feel like with the Father of Wands, I definitely see you getting ambitious and putting a lot of planning into this and potentially coming up with a very specific outcome that feels almost creative in nature. And it feels like you may not be able to finish it in September. This planning could be ongoing. It's very interesting. It's a weird scenario, Scorpio, because I feel like you're excited and I feel like you kind of maybe getting pressure to do something in September, but the strong energy that I'm getting is it's not your decision, it's mine. That's what you're saying to other people, like, butt out. I want this to go my way and it's going to take time. I'm not comfortable rushing. I'm excited and I want to stay excited, and I'm passionate about this and I want to stay passionate. So I'm not going to rush. I'm not going to force this to happen in September. I'm going to wait for the right thing, and that's going to take time with the Empress. We're going to wait for it to grow, and then we're going to harvest when it is necessary. So patience, 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 patience. People may really be kind of trying to speed you up here. I almost feel like you may need to put people in their place. It feels like other people could be excited for you, and they're kind of like, Scorpio, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Like, oh my God, you used to be this. Why don't you do that again? And you're like, no. I may do it again, but I'll do it on my terms. I'm not ready to do it in September. So what else do they need to know about the Seven of Cups, Spirit? What is going on here? It feels very much like, yeah, overwhelming. It feels very overwhelming. We have the Nine of Cups. So for some of you, this is a very positive energy of planning something for the positive, like, it could be that you're planning your birthday even, and people are like, why don't you do this? You know, like that's the vibes that I'm getting, just to throw out an example. It's not going to be that for all of you, but as an example, maybe other people are very excited for your birthday and they're like, Scorpio, why don't you do this? And Scorpio, that's so cool. And Scorpio, you know, have you started seeing someone new? Why don't you bring them? And you're kind of having to go, well, no, this isn't what I want. And what I want is this. So I'm going to wait. And I don't know yet. So it just feels like you have to consider your emotional needs primarily in this situation. What else can you offer them in terms of advice for the Seven of Cups? And I think other people may look at that as being selfish, because I see you making decisions that are in your best interest, and they're kind of like, Scorpio, like, why didn't you do this? Like, that's what I would have wanted. Or if it's family, maybe your mother's like, I want you to do this, Scorpio. And you're like, no, I need to do this instead. And they're like, wow, that's very selfish, but it's what's best for me, you know, like, and I don't think people would say that to your face. I feel like if they take a step back, it's very obvious why you're doing this, but for some reason, there seems to be other people involved, and you're having to kind of separate them from that planning process. We have yin yang as the advice. So this is about balance. This is also about harmony and kind of bringing a sense of unity in the situation, to the situation with the right people. So I feel like this is about inner harmony first, like you reconciling what you want to do before you share it with other people. Yin yang is about balancing your feminine and your masculine energy, the do from the feel. So I feel like in this situation, your advice is to really just be clear on what it is that you want to do and on how you feel before you involve other people and before you start making other people pivotal in this situation. It feels very much like this is about you planning something and you making sure that the quality is exactly what you wanted before you bring in anybody else. So let's have a look at your last theme now, that Nine of Coins in the reverse position. This feels like you trying to hold on to independence, but let's see what the cards say. We have the Five of Cups reversed, the Two of Cups upright. What's going on with the Nine of Coins reversed, Spirit? Interesting. The Eight of Cups reversed. It's actually a compromise. It's some sort of compromise between you and somebody else. The Three of Swords. It's a difficult conversation, that's for sure. The Father of Swords. Clarify the Nine of Coins, please, Spirit. We have the Daughter of Swords. Interesting. So many swords. You're kind of in your head about this, or whoever you're dealing with has spent a lot of time thinking about this. We have the Ten of Wands at the back of the deck. This is why you're a bit sad, because it feels like somebody's put you in a difficult situation. Between a rock and a hard place is what I feel. I'm seeing here that compromise is needed in September towards an issue that could have a physical limitation. Either we don't have enough money for what we want, or we need to be mindful of somebody's physical needs. And so we're having to compromise our own needs or our own values or our own wants. It does feel like for some of you, this is your values. Like, so maybe you value family and you're in a situation in which, you know, only so many people can witness you celebrating. So you can only invite certain people to this situation. But it just feels like we're having to compromise something that we really want over here. And we're trying to do this because we're experiencing kind of bad news, or we know that we're in a situation in which we're not going to get what we want. With the Five of Cups reverse, we're just trying to make sure that we don't lose everything though. We're trying to salvage something in this situation. So we're having difficult conversations with the Three of Swords about a way forward. And it does feel like for some of you, this is really heartbreaking news. Like it feels like there's been a major flood. Like nobody's going to be able to get through that water until the water goes down, but we still have to continue with the graduation ceremony. Our only option is, if you really want your parents to witness your graduation, we can create a virtual link and they can connect virtually, but they won't be able to be here in person. That's what it kind of feels like. It feels like a compromise in which the situation is, you literally trying to salvage something from worst case to best case, and you're having a difficult conversation with somebody about this and trying to brainstorm solutions to be able to salvage the situation. The Two of Cups upright tells me you do come to a compromise, but it's also about seeing eye to eye. You also need to voice your concerns, your heartfelt concerns, so that you feel heard. And it is about seeing eye to eye with whoever else is in the situation as well, and understanding the situation for what it is. I strongly feel with the Two of Cups that it could be about you being more emotionally open about your needs. Otherwise, you're not going to get what you want. So don't be afraid to communicate what you need. With the Father of Swords here, a lot of planning, a lot of thinking, a lot of communication is going to be needed. No. Sorry, my dog's trying to play with things that aren't toys. In order to get to that point where you are both happily going, okay, like this isn't the best situation, but I'm happy with this compromise. So a lot of communication, a lot of planning, and it just feels like you have to even go away and reflect individually. The Father of Swords is about being fair though. It's not about like what I want and only what I want. It's about, okay, well, how can we move to the best possible outcome? And how can we be fair about this? So with the Eight of Cups reversed and the Daughter of Swords upright, I almost feel like you may need to kind of settle in this situation. And it's very much about just focusing on the positives and trying to change your mindset as well, because your heart is having a hard time adjusting with this change. You don't feel entirely happy about this compromise, but you've told yourself that, you know, I can deal with it. So the Eight of Cups reversed can sometimes look like us needing to go back to something. So it could be that after the fact you decide, you know what, actually I want to do this instead, or I want to try this instead, or I want to go down this pathway and do this instead. It could be that you need time with the Daughter of Swords to research your options and to look things up online, or to kind of get a second opinion and do your own research, and then come back and say, you know what, actually, this is what I want to try to do instead. Feels like a lot of energy is going to go into this, and it could be a very heavy feeling of responsibility with the Ten of Wands at the back of the deck. A strong feeling of being overburdened, or just putting a lot of energy into this. You may be working really hard on this theme throughout September. So what else does Scorpio need to know about this Nine of Coins reversed? I feel like you're making it your responsibility to move this forward. We have the solar plexus chakra coming out to kind of confirm that. It feels like you're making it your responsibility to fix the situation, or to get the situation moving forward in the way that is needed. I see you being in a masculine energy, in a fixer energy, and really trying to be the doer. With solar plexus here, it is also about staying motivated and optimistic, but you can't move forward until you see a way forward. So I feel like once you know what you want to do, you're going to really try to stick to that. But it also feels like the motivation here is, well, it's going to have to happen. So, you know, it's not really about doing it the way that we originally wanted. It's just about making sure it's done, if that makes sense. It's very interesting. Your advice is the second chakra, Archangel Ariel. So that's interesting, because I feel like Archangel Ariel is this feminine energy of growth and inspiration, and almost having a muse. So your advice is to actually be more encouraging and receptive and dynamic in the situation. Even though your energy is to just kind of do it and fix it and get it done, you need to be a bit more flexible. You need to be a little bit more changeable, mutable, dynamic, to the point where the compromise isn't the final destination. I feel like this situation will change and will continue to develop throughout the month. And I do think that you're going to put a lot of energy into this. And I do think that you need to kind of stay true to what you want, and just finding solutions creatively to what you want. I also feel like with Archangel Ariel as the advice, there's a strong feeling of not giving up and just being persistent. It's a strong feeling of like putting energy into this and not just trying to get to the outcome, because that's what the solar plexus chakra is like. Solar plexus chakra is like, you want this? Okay, let's do it. Whereas the Archangel Ariel card is more like, oh, but that's exciting and that makes me feel a certain way and I want more of that. You know, like it's like you do it for the experience, you do it for the journey rather than the destination. So your advice is to try to put more effort and energy into the experiences, not just the outcome, into the journey rather than the destination over here. So that's what, that's what I'm seeing for you, Scorpio, when it comes to the month of September. I'm going to shout out some zodiac signs that I believe will be important in the month of September for you. We start over here with Gemini, Aquarius, Libra, so very strong air. We also have Virgo. We've got some Taurus energy, Cancer energy, and I think that is it. So, oh no, Leo as well at the back of the deck here. So those signs could be significant in the month of September. If this reading did not resonate 100%, you probably have messages in other aspects of your natal chart. I recommend for a general predictions reading that you start with your sun, moon, rising signs. But technically, you could look at any part of your chart that you're most interested in. If you know astrology well and there is a specific aspect of your life you want to focus on, go to that area, for example. If you're more interested in expansion and travel, you could have a look at your 9th house. Or if you're more focused on career and kind of progressing financially, materially, you could look at your 10th house. If you're more focused on family, your 4th house. Relationships or partnerships that are current, you could look at your 7th house. If you're more interested in finding the lover of your dreams, you could have a look at your Jupiter sign or your Venus sign, depending on who you're trying to attract energetically. There's a lot you could do, but I hope this reading was helpful and resonating for you. I hope you had messages that can carry you out through the rest of September in the way that they may offer advice or helpful information. I wish you a successful, prosperous, abundant month ahead, and I hope to connect with you in another video. Bye, Scorpio.